Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Well, I was been out here working for a little bit and I realized, I'll share this with you. It's Memorial Day weekend, 2018, and it's not a festivity or anything like that. I really kind of get annoyed when people treat it as, it's labeled as a holiday, but I think of holidays as parties and hooping and hollering and stuff like that, and this is not necessarily the case, even though some people can look at it as maybe a celebration of life. But it's also one of those things that you just kind of got to be appreciative of what you have. And I think right now lots of people aren't very appreciative of what they have, or at least that's what the media kind of puts out to everybody. And a lot of bad things have been happening in the past with shootings and stuff like that, so it kind of makes some people feel a little down in the dumps. Well, this weekend we're going to go out and meet up with some friends, and some folks we haven't met, I've been chatting with for years, others I've met before. And we're going to get our families together and we're going to go out and exercise on Sunday, both our First and Second Amendment rights. Just kind of being grateful for what we have and our Constitution and everything, because part of Memorial Day is a remembrance of how that all came about. So what I was doing is we're going out to some property, we're going to go shoot, and then we're going to go and barbecue and stuff like that and just have lots of camaraderie and everything and family get together. And I wanted to do a little bit to contribute. Just like I did for Joshua's Men Knife, or like anything you do. If you want to go to somebody's house, you always try to bring something with. And so I thought, well, we're gonna go out shooting, and I thought, well, I'll make some targets. So I'm over here I'm at the shop, and I bought some lumber. And as I started going through this process, I thought, well, maybe it's something I can share with you guys, a little idea of guys that like to make targets of their own. I'm sure there's 50 or 100 or 1,000 ways of making targets out of 2x material. I went ahead and bought some 2x4 pressure treated. That means ground contact. Out here it's kind of like brown and it's got these little slits in it that's been impregnated. Just like this here. So what I'm going to do is, well, what I have been doing so far is I took my 2x8s, 2x4x8s, and I cut them down to 2x6. Because you don't want them too high. You're shooting at a distance. Anything 6 foot or a little bit lower, 5 to 6 foot, seem to always be a good, happy medium when you're shooting distance and at the ranges and such. So what I'm doing is maybe a little overboard. Some people might just cut them up and just screw them together. But what I decided to do is to give them a little bit more rigidity. I'm going to notch them out. So I cut 2 feet off the 8-footers. So I have a 6-foot leg. And I have a 2-foot cross brace. So what I'm going to do is I notch this, and I'm going to glue and screw these in just like that. So then it'll be a little bit more structurally sound for moving them around and everything. So what I'm going to do is I already did these bottoms. This is the bottom part of it. I'm going to do the top one, but I'm going to actually notch that out and probably just do an L. And I'll use my router, and I'll make a little L cut on that, a relief cut like this. So this way I can set the other 2x's. I got 4 of them here. So I can set the other ones on top, and I can glue and screw those. And then these 2x6s pressure treated, these are actually going to be the side legs. So the side legs will be a little bit longer, and they'll be 2 feet. And then the front piece, which is going to be these over here, these are 28 inches. So these will actually go across the front of the target stand, and those 2x6s will be on the right side and on the left side. And you'll see in a second how it all goes together once I start, getting this all cut up and glued and screwed. But I thought, well, what the heck, I'll bring you guys along, do a little vlog. I've always had problems with impromptu videos and doing vlogs, like these little, I guess, a how-to in a way. But the other thing is too, is I just like to show off some of the tools I use. Nothing you see here is sponsored. I'll have links in my Amazon. I'm an Amazon affiliate, so I'll have links if there's any in there. Some of these tools are a better part of 8 or 10 years old. I do take care of them for the most part, but some of them might look a little different than what you'd see nowadays. But the things that I would say that I would recommend, because I've used them since 2009, I think it's been 2008, 2009 since I bought them, was stuff like that Bosch router. That thing's awesome. DeWalt, can't go wrong with that kind of stuff. And then some recent items is like the UVEX Bionic Shield. That thing works great. So I'll be using those kind of things, but I thought, well, hey, part of CK Knife and Tool is a tool, right? So here's more tools for you. Let me get started. Okay, I don't have any fancy microphones or anything, so hopefully you hear me okay with the birds and the airplanes that fly over every now and then. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn around. Now that I cut these reliefs, as I explained just a second ago, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn these around, and this will be the top. And the tops are actually going to be notched out. So all I'm going to do really is this is going to be a 2x4, and this is 24 inches long. I'm just going to take this, make sure it's even across the top there, score my line on the inside, and my Bosch router, it's already set fixed at 3/4 of an inch depth. So these are 1.5 inches. I'll be going 3/4 of an inch. That gives me 3/4 inch reveal. I'll be able to drop some glue in there, screw it in place, and that'll be good to go. So I'm going to mark all these off, and then we'll go ahead and clamp them in and start routering them out. Okay, what I did, I decided to move into the shop here a little bit because the ground's a little bit more level than trying to do it in the bed of my pickup truck, and I didn't want to grab everything and throw it up at the driveway in the house. So I'm just going to lay it out here in the shop, and I'm going to go ahead and put the type on. It's Ultimate Wood Glue. I think it's pretty good stuff, and it's waterproof, interior exterior grade, and I thought it'd be just a nice little addition, rather than just, you know, screwing them together. I want to stick with all exterior grade, especially with the pressure treated here. So if I'm already going this extra step, why scrimp on the screws? I'll just use 3-inch and it'll be good to go. So yep, so I'm just going to lay these out and glue them together, screw them, and you'll get to see what it's starting to shape out like. Alright gang, so what we're going to do next is I have to make a base that this is going to drop into. So what's ultimately going to happen is I'm going to take these 2x6s and I'm going to cut them at 2-foot lengths, and that 2-foot length is going to be the cross leg right here. So as you see, the stand is going to be standing this way, just this is the bottom. This is the bottom. So what's going to happen is that's going to be 2 feet across, so it'll be about this wide. Then I'm going to take those 2x4s I showed you earlier, that they're 28 inches length. They're going to go across the face of this. You put the base down in the ground, then this will be able to drop in like that. It'll be able to drop in just like this, and then it'll have a little bit of support on there, both left and right and front and back, so if it gets windy or anything like that, you won't have too many issues with it moving around. And then it'll be a little bit easier to pick up and take the 2 pieces back off to the shed or something like that, wherever they're going to store them. But I thought that would work a little better. And then if you want to transport them and take them someplace else, then it's a 2-piece again, so it lays flat in the bed of a pickup truck or something. So, and being at 6 foot, these will fit in pretty much anybody's pickup truck, except for a certain somebody's Toyota that only has a 5-foot bed. You know who you are. You're watching this video right now. I know it. So anyhow, so let's. I'm going to measure this out, and we'll get to cutting these 2x6s and make the bases. So, having made the mistakes that I have, corrected them, once I did that, you realize it had a lot more than that inch wiggle that I was hoping for. So what I went ahead is I went and got a scrap piece of 2x6 I had left over, and I cut some 14 inches long, lapped that ear off, matched, and 3 screws, and that really, I mean, you got wiggle. As you can see, you've got wiggle, but it's not that bad at all. By the time this video comes up, Memorial Day weekend had come and passed. I didn't want to post over the weekend, so hopefully everybody had a good, peaceful, safe, relaxing Memorial Day weekend. This was a gift. I had asked if he needed some stands. He's like, oh yeah, you know, you can make stand if you want. He says, I got, you know, 6 or 8 of them. He says, you know, if you do, great. You can take them, you can leave them, it doesn't matter. So I thought I'd make something nice that I can leave there. because hopefully, you know, my family and I can go back again. Hopefully we can go back again and do this, you know, 2-3 times a year. It'd be great. So I'm looking forward to it. So in doing so, I wanted to give to the individual and his wife that, you know, for kind of like a thank you, as well as maybe something that everybody would have some enjoyment in. So I think that's looking good. I have to go outside and set them all up in a driveway or something like that, but I'm really pleased with it. I'm going to finish the other one up, then I'm going to go ahead and cut some cardboard, put some cardboard on these so you guys can see what that looks like, and then wrap this video up. "26 inches outside dimension, looking at 72 inches, so just over 2 feet by 6 feet tall. Works really well. I think those little cleats I put on the sides really help stabilize it a little bit more. You can see it's got wiggle, but that'll be good. That'll be good for moving it around. You won't have, if you got some movement, that's not going to be an issue. I've been at ranges that have a lot worse than this. Yeah, turned out really nice. I had some cardboard left over. It's actually from a refrigerator that we got a while back, and being homeschoolers, you know, you don't try to throw anything away, so we cut the boxes up into pieces so the kids can do crafts and stuff. But we seem like we always have a lot of Amazon boxes laying around, so we had this big stuff left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and nail it to the, I'm going to go ahead and attach it to this other one over here, and then that's it. Then we're good to go. You could go back and I think I might have some. And for pressure treated lumber, they make a liquid, and it's called an end cut solution. They probably have some other names for it, but that's what I know it as end cut solution. And you put it all over your pressure treated wood, and the wood absorbs it. So that's something that I could probably go back and do. If I got some, I could touch that up. Otherwise, you could probably just throw some paint on it and call it good, or any kind of stain really to help penetrate the wood, so it lasts a little bit longer. But you know, geez, parts material-wise, to build both of these, you're probably around 60 bucks, 80 bucks. That depends on your location and the type of lumber you get. I didn't want to use regular hemp fir or regular 2x pine material. I wanted to stick with something that at least had some type of solution, and some type of rot component, like the staining that they use for this. But if you're going to do it, you could always just buy regular lumber, and if you have some scrap paint, you can cut this all down, glue it all up, and then paint it all, let it dry, and then use it, and that might work for you too. And maybe you'll save a couple of dollars there. But between screws, glue, and the lumber, and if you got to buy a box or something like that, I don't think you'd spend more than 80 bucks maybe. Also depends on when you see this, and lumber prices, of course. But I think it turned out pretty good. I don't think it, I'm really pleased. This is the first time I've ever done that. I've never built stands before. I also thought that having a larger component like this allows people a little bit more full-size targets, as well as not just the little tiny things that you normally see, something that's 2 foot or 16 inches by 2 feet, something like that. I wanted something a little bit bigger so you can stack targets. You could do maybe a shooting game where you can have different colors, things of that nature. You can also get that construction paper that you get at art stores or at the craft supply stores and stuff that kids use to paint and everything. You could also do that, staple it on here, and then you can actually put little stickers up there and stuff. So the only thing I probably would do different if I had it, I didn't want to spend any more money on it, but is maybe getting some type of melamine, some type of 1/4 inch material that you could actually staple on the entire outside part, and then you'd be able to staple your targets or anything to that. So, but like I said, guys, I do appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for all the likes, shares, subscribes, all that stuff. Again, leave the comments down below. If there's any other things that I can think of, they'll be linked up here in tabs, or they'll be down below in the description box. So make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe, the bell if you want. Thumbs up, of course, is always well liked and appreciated. Until the next video, guys, you take it easy. Have a good one. Bye.